Board meeting to order on Tuesday, September 10th, 2024 at 5 p.m. in the Santa Cruz Valley Unified School District number 35. Governing Boardroom, District Office, 570, Camino Lito Galindo, Rio Rico, Arizona. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And Mr. Ramirez, can you lead us?
Sir, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Yeah. Roll call, Ms. Lourdes Vasquez.
Present.
Ms. Susan Fobian.
Present.
Mr. Joe Kramer.
Here.
Mr. Rene Ramirez.
Here.
Brad Beach present. We do have a forum. B, adoption of the agenda, motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Then a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, you have to ask her whether any changes.
That's what I was waiting for.
Any changes?
No recommended changes.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Subject C, call to the public. And I'm gonna go ahead and read since we do have several call to the public this evening. Member of the public wishing to address the board on matters within jurisdiction of the board are required to complete the appropriate request to speak form and submit the completed form to the board secretary prior to the meeting. At the conclusion of the call to the public, individual members of the board may only respond to criticism, ask staff to review a matter, or ask that a matter be placed on a future agenda. However, the board members shall not discuss or take legal actions on matter raised during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. Public comments should be held to 3 minutes or less, and the board requests that the public refrain from the use of speech or language that is offensive or inappropriate pursuant to policy 1302. The president will limit discussion whenever he deems actions appropriate, such actions appropriate to the proper conduct of the meetings. Okay. And
The names.
first call the public, Larry. Go ahead. Mr. Fredericks.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Larry Frederick. I'm a member of the Calabasas Alliance along with other people speaking there, but also speaking as a member of the community. First of all, I want to address something that you have no control over. I am horrified at the actions of our county treasurer, and I recognize that the loss of $14 million for our district is a tremendous hardship. And I appreciate all that you as a board are trying to do to make sure that things continue operating at the same level of excellence that it has in the past. I am also more than a little upset with Superintendent Horn allowing funds that should have been coming to the school district to go back to the federal government simply because he didn't distribute them and didn't file a waiver. Once again, nothing anybody in here can do, but I realize the frustration that you as a board must be dealing with, trying to balance budgets and make things work with money that should have been here, not coming. All that aside, the reason I'm speaking tonight is some concern over boilerplate language in some donations from South 32 that make it appear that their logo will be appearing on everything that the district puts out. I am sure that that is simply standard language for other donations that they make. But of course, that's not appropriate for a school district. We are not here to advertise for Walmart and Target and every other business in the community that happens to give money. Perfectly all right to put a logo on a scholarship, on a thank you, at for donating to the back to school breakfast and for some things like that. That's perfectly appropriate. And just a little note at the bottom if it's in a bulletin or something like that. Just want to make sure that we're very careful about not committing ourselves to advertising for anybody. And that's not just South 32, but for any organization, because that is not the proper role. Santa Cruz Valley has done a very good job of avoiding that. And just want to make sure that everyone is aware of that and it's taken care of. I have spoken with the lawyer And she's aware of that, and she's already had meetings dealing with that, and I'm very grateful. She's a lot smarter than I am, so she knows what she's doing better than I do. But I feel better having read that before. Just wanted to bring that up. Once again, thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Mr. Frederick. Okay, next, Beth Pearl.
Good evening. My name's Beth Pearl. I'm a board member and the Chief Education Advisor for the Calabasas Alliance. And I wanted to take a moment to introduce our organization to you. We are a local nonprofit dedicated to the well-being of the residents and the environment of this region. Our primary areas of interest are education, advocacy, and community outreach to protect our environment, our natural resources, and the public health, and to promote sustainable economic development, ecotourism, and the principles of environmental justice in the area. We formed this group just over a year ago during the community outcry over a local developer's desire to create an industrial corridor along the Santa Cruz River Basin here in Rio Rico. In the last year, we have had successes in the following. A portion of the Santa Cruz River in Rio Rico will likely become part of an urban national wildlife refuge. We introduced, with the help of an Arizona state representative, legislation that will regulate manganese levels in our environment, thereby protecting public health. We've had numerous conversations with legislators on the National Resources Committee in Washington, D.C. regarding the need for oversight and protections here in Santa Cruz County. We've been the recipient of grants from the Microsoft Foundation and the Friends Foundation International, and we've held numerous MindThink educational events for the community with world-class scientists as invited speakers. We've had educational booths at community festivals and events, and we've held hands-on science activities at local summer camps. We are currently actively working with ADEQ Community Science Program to develop programs for this area to include educational curriculum, water, soil, and air monitoring. And we are working with U of A researchers to develop an environmental justice center here in Santa Cruz County. We are also working with scientists at Whipple to protect and educate and create curriculum surrounding our dark skies here in Santa Cruz County. We want you to know that we understand the frustration and devastation caused by the economic shortfall brought about by our county treasurer. We most sincerely feel your pain. It's our pain too. And we are with you as you navigate this season ahead. We have some wonderful volunteers, many with expertise in environmental science, hydrology, biology, astronomy, healthcare, marketing, and business. And we would love to find avenues to work with the school district to bring environmental awareness to our young people. We have several ideas for ways we can come alongside you and be a resource for our students. And we would welcome a conversation, and perhaps we can arrange a meeting to discuss some of these ideas and listen to any thoughts you may have. Finally, Calabasas Alliance would like to establish 2 $500 scholarships for graduating seniors that plan to study environmental science, ecotourism, or public health. We're unsure of the procedure for this, and we would like to discuss with you the best way to move forward with that plan. We are here for you. We have a passion for education, our environment, and protecting and preserving the beauty of Santa Cruz County for future generations. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you for your organization also. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Dr. Linderbilt, can you go ahead and review the matter with Larry Fredericks and maybe contact Beth to see how she can do that?
Yes.
Thank you. Executive session number 1, legal advice for Aquatic Center. Executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A3 and 4. Notice is hereby given to the general public that the governing board of Santa Cruz Valley Unified School District number 35 may vote to hold an executive session for discussion or consultation for legal advice with its attorneys and or for discussion or consultation with the attorneys to consider its position and instruct its attorney regarding the Rio Rico High School Aquatic Center. The governing board's attorneys may participate in person, virtually, or by telephone. At this time, a motion to convene to executive session in conference room 125.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. I hear that from you.
No, I was gonna ask a comment
Okay, go ahead.
for Melissa or Dr. Linderville. Do we come back then and keep going back and forth?
Correct. We have to go back because they're 3 different topics.
Yeah.
No, I was acting, Doctor.
Clarified?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go ahead and, motion to convene into executive session in conference room 125.
Yeah, I vote aye then.
Aye. Okay, we got unanimous ayes. So motion passes. And we're now in executive session.
There's Mr. I will. Right.
Here we go. Motion to reconvene back to regular session.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Number three, executive session number two, executive session pursuant to ARS 38431.03, A3 and 4. Notice is hereby given to the general public that governing board of Santa Cruz Valley Unified School District number 35 may vote to hold an executive session for discussion or consultation for legal advice with the and or for discussion or consultation with the attorneys to consider its position instructed to the attorneys regarding Liberty Utilities, Beardsley Water Corporation. The governing board's attorneys may participate in person, virtually, or by telephone. Motion to convene to executive session in conference room 125.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. All right, we're back. Motion to reconvene to regular session.
So moved. Second.
Then a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Executive session number 3. Pursuant to ARS 38-431.03, 3 and 4. Notice is hereby given to the general public that the governing board of Santa Cruz Valley Unified School District number 35 may vote to hold an executive session for discussion or consultation for legal advice with its attorneys and or for discussion or consultation with its attorneys to consider its position and instruct its attorneys regarding county treasurer matters. Verify complete case number C 20244-535 and related matters. The governing board attorneys may participate in person, virtually, or by telephone. Motion to convene to executive session in conference room 125.
So moved. Second.
Then a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay.
There's a job to oversee. Share the trust you're saying.
I'm positive because we pulled everything and said that we.
They are, one of my questions that I was gonna ask.
Well, I bet that was.
I think that was something that would involve, to me, like flaky.
Motion to reconvene to regular session,
So moved.
Second.
a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Subject A, Aquatic Center. Motion to negotiate a counter offer to MDG Mills Design Group in lieu of liquidated damages.
Motion, so moved.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Subject B, possible direction to legal counsel regarding Liberty Utilities. This will be motion to approve the direction given to legal counsel during the executive session regarding Liberty Utility.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. And C, possible direction to legal counsel regarding county treasurer matters with no action taken on that item. Subject D, possible approval of tolling agreement. And Mr. Kramer?
Yes, possible approval of the tolling agreement with Santa Cruz County regarding the district's possible claims against Santa Cruz County and or Santa Cruz County Treasurer and related matters as presented to the board or as revised in substantially similar manner.
So moved.
Second.
And a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Subject E, shade structure, Mr. Ramirez.
Yeah, well, the superintendent. I had brought that up with the superintendent about the need for more shade down by our pool. So, he suggested we have to put it on the agenda. It can just be an FYI or something that the district would have to take care of, that we'd have to discuss it. But I know that I'm not the only one. There are a lot of people in the public right now that believe that we need shade down there. If you go down there, if any of you have been down there, I know some of you were there for the ribbon cutting ceremony, etc. You can see right away, there's a dire need for shade, especially where we live here in the Southwest. So I have some idea after speaking to the superintendent about where we could possibly get funding for such a thing, but we definitely need the shading. And so I just, Mr. Dugo said that we have to discuss it with the board, but again, I want to reiterate that I'm not the only one that feels this way. There are a lot of people in the public who feel that we need more shade down there. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Just to follow up, yeah, we discussed this and it's something that we believe we need shade not only on the pool, but across the district. And we've been approached a few times about solar and that's what I mentioned. And I know that Mr. Kramer and I have had conversations at certain conferences with individuals and things like that. And Ms. Brown and I have also had discussions with companies that we've done business with in the past. But with all of our projects that we were working on, we just didn't feel it was appropriate at the time to explore the solar option. But now that we're coming to the end of our construction, we believe it's an opportunity for us to look at solar, and that might be an opportunity at the pool as well, to have solar shade structures, and that could also provide some electricity. So there's just different options, and we appreciate your and that's the reason I wanted to have it on the agenda, just so we can have that discussion in case anybody had any other recommendations or questions about it. But we'll be exploring different ways to get shade structures across the district.
Yes, I want to commend Mr. Kramer for pointing that out about the going solar, but I also want to remind you that from the time that I arrived on this school board, that I asked you and Mr. Shadler to push hard for us to always have solar, to do everything when we build things to try to incorporate solar as much as we can, because it's always a good payback for that kind of thing, as we've seen from our solar farm as well.
Anything else, Mr.
You there, Mr. Verdugo?
No, thank you. That's good. Again, I just wanted to make sure that we shared that because that is gonna be a project that we'll be exploring and looking at it and seeing how we can provide not only the shade structure for the pool, and then looking at parking, because that's also been a question about, and then also on some of the campuses, just other areas for shade for outdoor learning spaces, outdoor eating areas, things like that. So shade structure is something that we know is needed across the district.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Fobi? You have anything to add?
We know we need them.
Okay. Ms. Vasquez?
Absolutely. I think we should look into it because I think they're desperately needed. I think it's something that, especially now that we are growing so much and with the pool, like you said, absolutely, I totally agree.
Mr. Kramer?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's saying no, And certainly, yes, thank you, Mr. Verdugo, because we've attended some conferences, certainly the ASBO conference has been one of enlightenment over the last 2 years, or that. And I know that Mr. Verdugo and I met with one of the companies just through chatting with him, and I know he's referring to that one company, I think it's Schneider Electric. There's also Vergy that we deal with, McKinstry is another one. Certainly those three companies, I mean, we would want to get the best, whoever gave us the best deal, right, CFO? Because they're all probably gonna go out for bids and then whoever give us the best deal on that. But I think that it's good as board members that we did go out there and network, because it's sometimes running into the vendors that we don't always know and get to know and say, hey, you know what? That's a good deal, because again, Mr. Verdugo, we don't know Vergy, but if under these other companies can give us a better deal, well, what saves the taxpayer, right? So I'm sure that going down the road, it's always good to bring that up, and I think that it's very important, especially with the new transformers at Rio Rico High School now, I think can handle that as well, correct, Dr. Lunderville?
We're still working on getting that project, getting those.
Well, once we get that done,
That'd be-
right, okay. So that's, I'm just saying, I think that, I think your wish will probably be bigger than what you thought. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Ms. Ramirez, anything to add?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
fine.
Yes.
Well, thanks, Mr. Ramirez, for bringing it up, and Mr. Verdugo, thanks for pursuing our different options out there, and I think this will probably be a future board item. Okay, subject F, Santa Cruz Valley Unified School District policies. Mr. David Verdugo.
There's no policy updates at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Fobian? Do you have anything? Ms.
Bless you.
Fawcett, bless you.
Oh, no, I have nothing at this time.
For
Policies.
policies? Yeah, actually, I do have one. On ARS 15-721, one of the law conferences. And I don't know if we do this, but what it says is that the governing board, that's us, shall make available on the school district website for review by the public of list of all books and materials purchased after January 1st, 2023. For any of the district school libraries for a period of at least 60 days after the purchase. So all books that are being purchased by our library from January 2023, we as a governing board should have made sure that that's on our websites. So I'm just bringing that in Dr. Lunderville, it's ARS 15-721.
Yeah, we Mr. Shadler, before he left, that was one of his projects that they worked on. And Megan has continued that. And so that we've worked on all of that, making sure all of the required postings have occurred.
And they're found on our website by links of
They
books
should. Yeah, they
purchased
should.
at the
they should
libraries.
By all district book purchases have listed and posted that. But I can confirm with Ms.
Yeah,
Padilla.
no, I know we did with the books. I'm just saying this new added was with the library books. Because I know Mr. Verdugo, yes, I agree with you. The textbooks were there with Mr. Shadler, but I don't know if he's added in the library books, but certainly if you could look into that, because that would be.
Yes, yeah, because we had to list it all supplements and all the different anything that was gonna be used in classrooms as well. So I know that was a big project that he was working on with his team, but I'll confirm with Ms. Padilla.
Right,
Get
and
back to
each, actually, each school is supposed to do it as well. So all of our school sites are supposed to do it, and they're supposed to notify the parents about the open and closing dates of this public review. So that's why we go to conferences, we get this out, this information and bring back, right?
Yep.
So certainly that's one of mine that I'm bringing in.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Ramirez?
I'm good, thank you, sir.
I have nothing else. Subject G, propose and priority topics and possible dates and times for future board meetings. Mr. Verdugo.
And any additional items that have not been listed, that the board would like?
Ms. Fobian?
I have nothing at this time, thank you.
Ms. Vasquez?
I don't know if this is the time, if I'm out of order or whatever, but one of the issues and I don't know, I talked to you, Mr. Verdugo, about and this is for, San Cayetano, when the parents come and pick up the children, okay, they block the whole street all the way down. Okay, I think that's like a hazard, and I know that and I know that the students get out after 2 o'clock or something like that, but you go by there at 1:15 and you cannot get by. Where the.
So, yeah, so we'll add the topic of pickup area at San Cayetano to the.
Yeah, something
agenda.
like that, yeah, okay, I wasn't sure that if this is the time when I was supposed to say
Yeah,
it.
you,
But-
We can't just.
Talk
yeah.
about it. Okay,
just give us the topic and then we'll put it on and then you can,
perfect,
we'll
Alrighty.
figure it out.
thank you.
Thank
you.
Mr. Kramer? you have any-
I've got it out, no.
Go ahead, Mr. Ramirez? Yeah, on future board topics?
No, I'm good. Thank you, sir.
Good also. Subject A, enrollment update, Mr. Verdugo.
Thank you. Actually, since I'm driving, I can turn it over to Ms. Brown, who had the updated numbers. And you can see where we're at after the 10th day and I think the 40th day numbers as well. And so, you know, as we have shared in the past, you know, Ms. Brown does a great job of looking at how many students we're anticipating before each school year starts and making sure what our projections are. And I think we came in, we're almost even. I don't know what the last numbers were, because I know she had updated it, but I'll turn it over to Ms. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Verdugo. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. I'm gonna ask you to go to the 3rd page of the enrollment summary. That is the table where I like to focus. I've highlighted in yellow the current fiscal year that we're in, school year, for this purpose. Our current enrollment listed at 3,513 is as of last Friday, September 6th. That enrollment, if I compare that versus the prior year enrollment, we're down by 24 students. And then our open enrollment is at 321. That is kids that come to our district and live outside of our district boundary. So it's, last year we were at 350, this year went down to 321. So just, that gives you the overall enrollment numbers. Now, if we go school by school, let's go back to the 1st page. And we can see that San Cayetano closed the school year last year with 407 students. They're serving 395. Under their previous year enrollment. Then followed by Mountain View. Mountain View closed the school year at 391 and they're currently at 402, so up for last year. And then moving on to Calabasas. This is the school that we can see the variance from last year to this year. Calabasas closed the school year with 876 students. They're currently serving 811 students. And then I go ahead and do a breakout at Calabasas to the right side of the table, where I give you the number of kids in the elementary side of the operation and also on the middle school. So on the elementary side, Calabasas has a total of 507 K-5, that does not include their preschool. And then for the middle school, they have a middle school of 304 students. Moving on to Cuatimundi, Middle School. Well, let me backtrack to Calabasas. One highlight of Calabasas, and that has been the case for Calabasas since we opened that school back in the day, Peña Blanca Elementary, has been the number of kids that are open enrolled to that school. And we've always felt it has to do with the location of the facility. It's right off the freeway, it's on its way to Nogales, so we feel that it's a convenient location for families to drop off their kids and pick them back as they go to our neighboring town of Nogales for work. Then moving on to Cuatimundi. Cuatimundi last year finished the year for 454. They're currently at 499. Then moving on to Rio Rico High School. Rio Rico High School, last day they closed their school year with 1,395. They're currently at 1,406. Total open enrollment of 134 students.
So we have.
We do also have, since COVID, we started to track if we have any distance learners in our district. We don't have any engaged in that modality this year. We, at the last board meeting, you actually took action to suspend the AOI model that we had in our district. So I'll consult with Megan before I remove that column if we're no longer going to have that option for students. That we used to track how many students were engaged in our distance learning program, because that has an impact on the class size in adults. Any questions?
Ms. Phobie?
I'm just really happy with these numbers because we anticipated that they might not be this good. And we continue to pick up students during the year. So I feel very good about these.
We do have, I mean, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but we do have a lot of in-transit population. And we see fluctuations when the produce industry goes through their shifts and their seasons throughout the year. We can see that in our families. Some families move into our communities, others move out of our community. So being our proximity to the border also adds another layer of in-transit population. So our numbers are moving every week.
Population of Rio Rico.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
It's good news.
Ms. Vasquez?
I'm just almost.
And just
really
to
happy with-
highlight real quick,
Go ahead, Mr. Verdugo.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, just to highlight real quick, as we're just finishing up the numbers before the board starts making comments, is that the K3 numbers, if you start to look at those more specifically, and that's been our biggest concern, is just there's not a lot of births in our county. So we were anticipating numbers drop, as Ms. Fobian was just talking about, but we've made them up in other areas. But again, the numbers are in the K through 3 are lower than they've ever been, at least since I've been in the district. And so it's just again, because they're and I know Ms. Brown does a great job of tracking that, just the amount of births. So hopefully the COVID, as they say, the COVID babies will start to come in the next couple years, and those numbers will hopefully go back up. But you can see that the numbers are 200 and below across the district in K through 3, which is concerning, because that is going to catch up with us at some point. And I just wanted to highlight that for the board. Sorry, Ms. Vasquez.
No worries.
Ms. Vasquez?
No, okay, no, I was just gonna say that I was very happy with the numbers, especially for the high school. And I can see, where it comes, where the smaller kids, but Mr. Verdugo just explained the reason, okay? So we do need those babies to start coming in, but I'm very pleased. I'm very, very pleased. Okay, so thank you.
Mr. Kramer?
We probably won't see him, huh?
I know.
It'll be us as board members. But anyway, I think that Mr. Verdugo, every time we do this, and I'll just say it again, and I'm not saying this because Mr. Verdugo knows that I will call him out on things too, but we go back and look when we first, and two of us were on here, when we hired Mr. Verdugo. And our goal was to get the numbers up. We weren't happy with the open enrollment numbers, because they were 800 or so, I don't know what they are now. Hopefully they're down because we're getting even in Nogales Unified. But we've gained 300 students from when he took the helm of this district. We've gained 300 students. Now, the quandary here is though, that our two middle schools are sitting at 56 and 62% capacity. Granted, they were built for volume, where they were built, so really we are having to heat and cool of large areas of a building that are not at full capacity. But if that's to say we get at full capacity, or even 80%, our Rio Rico High School numbers are gonna go shooting up. You know, we're all good at our middle schools, but elementary schools, but our middle schools, for some reason, I think we're still losing some of those kids. Maybe they leave and then they come back later to high school, say, oh, yes, I wanna come back. But those two schools, I think as a board, those percentages, again, it's just for talk, because it's not an answer right now. But it's something that we had worked on before, but maybe we want to look at that, and not that they're throwing you guys in there, because it's always been that way. And it's always been, that was the section that we're always concerned about. Granted, the high school was even lower, but it's something that we talked about 10 years ago. And it's something that, what do we do to get there? Does it mean then, how do we expand on Rio Rico? Do we get bigger, whatever? I'm just pointing that out, but I'm going back to the compliments of, at least we're getting there. We are bringing students from NHS, and hopefully we bring back as I think even Dr. Verona mentioned in one of us about how, where some of the schools in the north end, as I used to say, the brain drain, we do lose a lot of good students to those school Desert Shadows. Coronado and Brack are all A schools. Well, that's where our Rio Rico kids are at.
That's right.
So somehow we gotta get them back too. And again, we never had an answer. Brad, you asked me 2 years, what's the answer? We've never had that answer, other than we just keep trying to build on that. And again, Mr. Verdugo, we have built on that because we see it in the numbers. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, certainly. It's just something, again, something we can study for this next coming year. Certainly, thank you, Mr. Page.
Mr. Ramirez?
Yes, well, I think that we should encourage people to read Genesis, you know, that would really help us with the kindergartens and the growth over there. No, but on a more serious note, I'd say that we really have the ball rolling right now. We've really improved upon our facilities thanks to Mr. Verdugo's vision. And I hear a lot of people talking about how great our facilities are. Just the other day, they published all the pictures with regard to the pool. And I mean, our football field is beautiful, our stadium, new stadium, and our facilities are only getting better and better. And a lot of people are beginning to talk about that, how nice our facilities are. And I remember John Fanning coming here before we built them all and talking about how we wanted to be the hub for our community. And we're starting to see people come out. Somebody told me, one of the governing board members, I think, perhaps Mr. Verdugo it was, that we had a gentleman come on the day that we opened the pool, and he was already doing laps over there.
I know, he was doing a butterflies.
Butterflies, that's right. And so, yeah, it was Mr. Verdugo had mentioned that, but we have people that are coming in, we've had a lot of interest. People ask me, well, what do we have to do, you know, to get a cart to come down to the pool and so forth. There's a lot of interest in our new facilities, and people are really excited about our, you know, our weight room and training rooms and all kinds of things. And not only that, but our academics as well. So I feel like we really have the ball rolling right now. And I feel it's only going to get better. And I believe that these numbers are just going to keep growing and growing, and kudos to everything that not only the superintendent's done, but the board has done to push for this kind of stuff, including the bond and the override. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, on another positive note, I do have 3 COVID grandbabies gonna enter the district. James, Aaliyah, and Emma should be at the preschool pretty soon, so good luck to those teachers.
And he means it, okay?
I babysit, yeah. Okay, here we go. Subject B, superintendent's report.
Nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Okay, subject C, governing board members report. Ms. Fobian.
Thank you. You know, to see the discipline reports. I mean, I knew it was just too good to be true that there was no cell phone issue. But the cell phone issues were handled well, and it was certainly limited. So I think everything is gonna go smoothly, you know, from now on, and there weren't any other real negative issues. Everything seems to be going well, so congratulations, principal.
Ms. Vasquez?
Same thing. Congratulations to the principals for all their hard work, everything they do with all the kids. Also, I was also looking at the principal's report, and again, you know, there's still things like if you know, that you listen to what some of the kids are saying and whatever, and for the most part, I think that over 90% of the kids have bought into that, you know, that mentality that, you know, that cell phones are not allowed and whatever, you know, and I know that they want other things, you know, to be, you know, available for them, you know. And I remember when there weren't any cell phones, okay, when my kids were in school and when you guys were in school, all you principals, okay, you had a lot of things going on, you know, at the high school, but that was because of, let's say, like student council. Remember, like the pie eating contest and you know, the battles between the classes, you know, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. That happened a lot during what? Lunch, okay, because that's when the kids don't have anything to do, okay? So I think we really need to kind of push that, you know, and tell these people, you know, that's what the kids want. If you talk to the kids, okay, and I've talked to a lot of them, you know, they say just that, you know, that they understand and they have the buy-in and all that stuff, you know, but they want something to do, okay? Like during lunch, when they eat lunch, they want to go out and that's when, what did they do? They were on their phones. Now they can't do it. So they want something else to do. So I think we kind of need to look into that part, okay? So that we can have more positive feedback from the kids, okay? So that's my, you know, my 2 cents right there. One other thing is like, I just want to say congratulations to our volleyball players because they did really, really well against our neighbors, okay, and we do have a friendly rivalry against them, you know, like, you know, and we beat them, okay, so that was really positive. I was really happy. I was like, yeah, you know. Anyway, that just tells you, you know, how much our sports is growing and building, and you know, and we're getting the right kids and everything. We've got fantastic sports, okay. We got a bunch of kids that are way up there, okay, and stuff. So, but you know, we're just seeing more. I just want to say good luck to the football team on homecoming. Okay, let's do it again. Anyway, and just, you know, we're almost there at the middle of what is it? Progress reports come out. Okay, you know, you guys come on. You know, we're in it. So let's do it really positive and focused and all for the right reasons. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vasquez. Mr. Kramer?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Beach. Certainly the 5 of us, Mr. Verdugo included, the 4 of us that attended the ASBA conference. I will say this, Ms. Fovian, that it seems that what should I say? The atmosphere has changed. It has. It seems to me that to us, those of us who were there, it wasn't so where it was to one side or the other side. There was a lot more congeniality.
Yes.
There really was, and I'm not giving compliments because I was there, but because I know that we had seen differences there, but I'll give credit to ASBA, at least they're bringing back what ASBA used to be, so. You know, and we all went to different sessions, and I know, and I'm not gonna bore us on that, but I will say this. Dr. Lunderville, I know you and I've chatted before, but I'll send it to you about 10 things to know about the IDEA Act for teachers. And it's certainly something that I know when we do the meetings, the IEP meetings, a lot of times there's not always followed, but I'll send that information because I think it's a very good presentation, especially for teachers. So they understand that they meet not only the idea, the special needs students, but our 504 students as well, because that's important. Because we know at times 504 students, because we know that voc rehab hasn't always been there in the county like it should be. So I don't care, I'll say it, but it is true. But anyway, we can certainly help them. Also, I think we need to get the board resolution to formalize our AI usage because that was recommended to us. I know, hopefully we can get that going before December. And there was the other one that the gentleman that was Bill Nye, the guy that did the presentation.
Justin Schaefer.
Thank you. Thank you, that's why you're still a teacher. You remember names. But yes, Justin, you remember how he brought up, and certainly, I think we were talking about the apps that can be used for students. And principals, I'll send you that stuff, because I'm good at sending that. But it's some apps that, and I tried one, it was actually pretty neat. But I was putting in there about, hey, it wasn't a good day at school, and it answers back in a congenial way. And what he was saying is it becomes like a friend, but it gives good advice. And it certainly gave good advice. So then I put it as an adult, and certainly was saying, oh yeah, quit the whatever. It was very good apps, but I was certainly can send that or send it through, but they're free of charge. And one of them is called Pi. And it was actually pretty neat. So and because I think we brought it up before about our depression rate, especially what came off of COVID, and it's still there, especially at middle schools and everything. But these are apps that he was even pushing, because he said it does help our students. So I'll try to send those over to you, principals, because it's certainly important. And yes, the pool opening, Susan and I we were there for the grand opening, cutting the ribbon. It was certainly that I was there with the teachers with the soft opening. We got to credit Mr. Verdugo and Susan, because you remember one gentleman that said, we need this, and we all kind of looked at him and went, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. And that's right, when Mr. Verdugo got hired, is Victor Fontes back in 2013 was pushing him. You certainly remember that, when he was sitting over here demanding, we need a pool, we need a pool. Well, you know what? It actually did happen. I mean, really, we all thought it was a pipe dream, but we did make it happen, because we never thought it would. So I think it was good for the pool opening, certainly with cutting the ribbon was just, whatever, as board members, but I think it's gonna be a great asset, and it's certainly important. And as what you were saying about the facilities and everything else. So, thank you, Mr. Beach.
Thank you. Mr. Ramirez?
Thank you, sir. Well, I learned a lot at the ASBA conference as well, and it was pretty good. One of the things that I went to was something I had seen in the first times that I had gone, and when I was just a sapling here in the beginning, and they reminded us about the importance of open meeting law and our communication with each other, and also how we run our governing board meetings and so forth, and to really stay on top of things. And I remember when I first came, Ms. Fobian was a stickler about it and wasn't too thrilled about it, but now that I look back, I think it was important. And sometimes we've kind of gotten lax about those things, very lax. And they reminded us of, if people in the public want to speak, that they have to come up and do call to the public and things of that kind of nature. But a bunch of stuff, and they talked, Lourdes was there, we heard about all the rules and the things that we got to follow, and we got to cross all our T's and dot all our I's. But then there was another conference I went to, another open session, and session I went to, and they discussed the importance of us doing thorough background checks on our employees. And they reminded us not to be lax about that either. And that if, I didn't know this, but they said that if anybody lies to us with regard to those things and coming up to us, that's actually a Class 6 felony. And I wasn't aware of that, which I thought, wow. We've had some people that have been kind of a little shaky sometimes, so we have to really be careful with that and doing our background checks. On a positive note, it was a lot of fun to hear Justin Schaefer talking, to see how he came from his background and how he worked his way up to becoming a public speaker. But his big thing was that he pushed all this turbo STEM presentations for science, and he was Mr. Fascinate, and he got the kids all pumped up about learning science, and he got really nice applauses from the teachers there, or people, board members there, or even superintendents who were former science teachers. So he's really something else. And I think the best part of his whole presentation was when he had the 4 kids come up and talk to us about the importance of AI. And many times they reminded us, it was funny then, the kids were telling us, you guys as adults are always talking about the negative impact of AI and what can happen. We said, but you guys fail to recognize that there's a lot that we can learn as young adults from AI, and even they said it, as long as we're very careful about how we use AI. So I wish that the principals had been there, because they would have even gotten you guys all pumped up about pushing AI. And one of the things that Mr. Kramer had mentioned was that they pushed Microsoft Copilot, which I haven't used personally. But they talked about the importance of it, and there were really 4 things. That was Microsoft Copilot, ChatGPT. And Mr. Verdugo, Khan Academy, which is one of your and my favorites. And so, and there was one more, but I can't remember right offhand. But they said these are the 4 basic ones, and that anything outside of that is kind of risky. So I thought I'd mention it to the principals here tonight. So it was really fascinating, and it was good. It was refreshing to hear the kids discuss this.
Thank you. Well, it looks like everything I was gonna say, you guys already covered, except one. I was looking at our donations in, Mr. Armijo, you're gonna have, 264 cans of Rosarito beans delivered to your school. Chili cook-off, I don't know. Do the classrooms have windows, doors? They gotta, yeah. All right, okay, all right, got a chuckle out of that. I have nothing. Let's go ahead and move on. I know we're getting late. 7 consent agenda, approval of the consent agenda. Any matter on the consent agenda will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed as a regular agenda item upon the request of any board member. Does anybody need anything removed? Ms. Bobby? Ms. Vasquez?
I have nothing.
Mr. Kramer?
I'm good.
Mr. Ramirez?
I'm good as well.
I'm good also.
Mhm.
Okay. Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carried. Meeting is adjourned at 7:22.
Very close. Michael.